This is the McLaren MP4-12 for Automobilista 2. It's the newest car added to AMS2 and it's unique in one very special way. So in this video I'm going to explain what makes this car instantly recognizable to F1 fans and what Reiza has done to recreate that for us in a sim. What's going on, guys? It's Mike for Sim Racing 604, and some percentage of you would have instantly recognized this 1997 Formula 1 car as the famous 2 brake pedal car. For those that already know about it, skip ahead and you can see me test drive the car with 2 brake pedals. But for the rest of you, I'm going to take a few minutes to explain exactly what the dual brake pedal system was. So back in the late 90s, McLaren F1's chief engineer Steve Nichols had the idea that if braking on a race car could be biased strongly toward the inside rear wheel, it would aid in cornering. So he decided to experiment with adding another master cylinder to the car, one that would act only on one wheel, either the rear left or rear right depending on the track, and this would only work on long corners where applying throttle would cause understeer. For the shorter corners or fast corners, the conventional brakes would still work fine. The physics of it are fairly simple. On a long radius corner, applying additional throttle pushes the car off the racing line. But if your car was biased to understeer in these situations and you could apply braking to the inside rear wheel, that wheel would act as sort of a pivot point for the car, and a yaw effect would occur to help get the car around the corner. So you could continue to have the outside wheels drive the car while the inside rear wheel functioned as sort of an anchor, which is a net gain versus traditional braking. So the big question is, did it work? Yes, it did. In testing, Mika Hakkinen was able to get his car around Silverstone about a half second faster than before with his new third pedal. His teammate was David Coulthard, who was old school and still used a foot pedal clutch, and he was slower to warm to the idea, but eventually had a fourth pedal installed into his car for the brake steer function. McLaren was able to win multiple races with this function on board their cars and ended up fourth in the Constructors' Championships overall. And as it goes with F1 innovation, the other teams threw up their arms and said that McLaren couldn't do that within the rules, and McLaren of course countered by saying they absolutely could, and they won. The brake steer system was used through the back half of the 1997 season and even into 1998. And many years later, McLaren's road car development team even put a similar system into the McLaren MP4-12C. So that's the story of the brake steer system on the MP4-12, or the fiddle pedal as it's sometimes known. So now let's see what Reiza has done to bring this to Automobilista 2. And just a footnote about implementation into the game, Reiza has mapped this automatically based on the track, so it will always be your primary inside wheel. So if you're running a clockwise track, it will be your rear right. If you're running an anti-clockwise track, it will be your rear left that the brake steer system is applied to. So let's go ahead and get on track. Alright guys, so here we are in the pits. So we have 3 pedals mapped, obviously the accelerator, brake, and then the extra brake. So it's a little bit tricky because the extra brake doesn't feel like a brake, it feels like a clutch. You can see it does very little. You can actually stop the car with it, but it's very slow to do so. And a couple takeaways. I've done a bunch of laps so far to kind of get used to it. First takeaway is it doesn't actually take that long to get used to, but as far as the amount of force needed, yeah, that's a very, very difficult thing to learn. And the second takeaway is that it's remarkably effective. So much so that it actually feels addictive. You want to use it in corners where it's not appropriate. So you can see I put too much into it there. I'm exaggerating it, of course, using it on pretty much every right-hand corner. You can see just how much of a pivot that creates. Really gets you around the corner quickly. Useless in corners like that, but I just want to show you guys an exaggerated version of it. Now, I got greedy and tried it here a few times. Definitely the high-speed corners, you want to control your entry speed rather than try and modulate it with the brake steer. But this right here, so it just rips the car around the corner. Really remarkable system, actually. It seems to be perfectly implemented in AMS2, and this being the exact corner where it's useful. So you can see that speed. I had a tough time modulating it there, controlling it, so I put too much into it. I ended up with a poor track out, but you can definitely see how it would be useful. Just plain missed the pedal there. But truly remarkable and a very, very cool addition to AMS2. First in sim racing. And I don't suspect you'll see it again, if I'm being honest. Not because it's not cool, but just because I can't imagine any other game developer going to the trouble of developing something like this for one car. Oops. Too far outside there. See there, I was carrying a bit much entry speed, just gave it a little bit of the brake steer effect, and it really pivots the car around nicely. That was better. Really slick. I think they've done a great job with this. I've been looking forward to this one. I was supposed to have this earlier this week. I knew I was contacted by Reiza, and I knew this was coming, and I was all excited to drive it, and then they had some issues with the 3D model, so I've been waiting all week to get my hands on it. And I'm proud to say it was everything I had hoped it would be. See if I can not go off track here. Almost did. Alright, we'll make this the final lap. Whoops. So just a horrendous line through there. Maybe this won't be the last lap. But it is so cool. Tried to do a little more modulation there. Not sure if it helped me or hurt me. So this really needs to be in the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing with a Formula 1 car like this. I don't know how many pros drive AMS2. But certainly there's a lot of aliens in the sim racing community who could better take... Whoops. Who could take better advantage, I should say, of the brake steer system. The fiddle brake. I hate the name fiddle brake, I think that's terrible. Ah, missed it again. Alright, this will be the last lap for sure. You guys get the point. I think this is a tremendously cool addition. Whoa. See the tire wear in the lower right hand corner there? Car really starting to chew through the rubber. It's kind of like an emergency brake too. You go too deep into a corner, hit that, it's gonna rotate. Alright, well I think that's just the coolest thing. I mean, is it the most functional, usable thing in sim racing? No, of course not. It's a cool thing, it's a cool sport, a cool part of motorsport history, I should say. And really glad to have it in the sim. Well done to Reiza, that's a really, really cool feature, and glad to have the MP4-12 in AMS2 filling out that Formula V10 field. Thanks guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.